Hello everyone. Problems based on interest is something that is tested in many entrance exams, including GAT. In this video, let's look at a problem of this type. Let's dive into the question. Equal amount of money is invested for 3 years in two different schemes. Scheme 1 pays by compound interest at a rate of 10% per year for 3 years. Scheme 2 pays by simple interest at a rate of 10% per year for the first 2 years, and rate of interest changes for third year. If the returns on the investment are equal in both the schemes, find the rate at which the interest is paid on the amount invested in scheme 2 for the third year. Now what we need to understand in this problem is that there are two types of interest that is being calculated here. Scheme 1 is something in which the interest is getting compounded annually at the rate of 10%. And in scheme 2, for the first 2 years, there is a simple interest of 10%, and for third year, the rate of interest is not provided in the problem. Now, let us start with scheme 1. Scheme 1 uses compound interest. The compound interest is generally calculated by using this formula. A is the amount at the end of the period, P is the initial investment or the principal, R is the rate of interest that is being provided in the scheme, and N is the number of years or the time period. In our case, we know that R is 10% and N is 3 years for scheme 1. So let's dive into solving scheme 1. By substituting the known values in the equation, we get 1331p by 1000 as the amount at the end of 3 years under scheme 1. Now we do not know what the value of principal is, so we retain it as p, and we just substitute 10 for the rate of interest and 3 for the number of years, and on simplifying we arrive at this, which we call as equation 1. Now let's look at scheme 2. Scheme 2 pays simple interest on the investment, and we know how to calculate simple interest. Simple interest is calculated by using this formula, PNR by 100, where P again is the principal, N again is the number of years, R the rate of interest. Now there are two stages of simple interest in this problem. For the first 2 years, we have 10% rate in which the simple interest will be calculated, and the third year in which the simple interest is calculated at an unknown rate. How do we denote this? Let us take R as the rate of interest for the third year, and we substitute the rest of the values in our equation. So for the first 2 years, we get N as 2 and R as 10%. In the third year, we get N as 1 and we retain R as R. And we simplify this equation, we get what we name as equation 2. Now, we know that the return on investment in both the schemes, scheme 1 and scheme 2, are equal. And therefore, we will be able to equate the amount that we get at the end of 3 years for scheme 1 and scheme 2. That is 1331p by 1000 that we got from the first equation or the first scheme will be equal to 20p by 100 plus pr by 100 plus p, which we got as the amount at the end of 3 years using second scheme. Since we know that these two are equal, we will be able to solve this equation for R. P is a common value across this equation, so this will get cancelled and R will be left out. So when we try to simplify, we would find that R is 13.1%. So no matter what the principal amount P was, the R will be 13.1%. So this is the return on investment from scheme 2 for the third year. So that both the scheme 1 and scheme 2 yield the same return on investment. Therefore, our correct answer would be option A. Now before we move on, Here's a question for you to try. A financial consultant who works for an investment firm has to provide an investment recommendation to his client. He has two options to choose from. Option 1, investing the given amount in 10% per annum, 10-year cumulative fixed deposit that compounds annually. Option 2, investing the same amount in 11% per annum, 3-year cumulative fixed deposit, and investing the accumulated amount in a 10% per annum simple interest scheme at a private bank for 7 years. If in both the above cases the client shall get the total return on his investment only at the end of 10 years, then which of the above options should the consultant recommend? Solve this question, and I would love to see your answers as comments. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more.